Arne Slot came into Liverpool, and in his first ever season, he won the league. Not only did he win the league, but he basically won the league without any signings because Chiesa was barely used. He was the only signing that came in. And Mamardashvili hasn't made his Liverpool debut yet because he was brought in for this season. And that's a pretty incredible achievement from Arne Slot. So Liverpool are like, well, they didn't spend anything really last summer. They've made over 100 million in sales. They've got a manager that won the league, that adapted with players that were inherited from Klopp. And Liverpool are like, this is their opportunity to build a super team. This is Liverpool's opportunity to build a super team. Liverpool don't want to just win the league and wait another 5-10 years to win the league again. Liverpool want to do what Sir Alex Ferguson did and win multiple league titles in a row. They want to do what Pep Guardiola did and win multiple league titles in a row. And the absolute squad that Liverpool is assembling, as a Man United fan, is horrible. I feel sick because Liverpool could beat us to number 21, title number 21. The side is literally a cheat code. We're talking Frimpong in the door, Wirtz in the door, Kerkez in the door, Ekitike in the door. We're going to talk about those players, why they're good signings. But Alexander Isak could be in the door next. Marc Guehi to replace Kwanzaa. Liverpool, as good as their attack is, they do need some defensive reinforcement for depth. There's rumours of a DM, but I don't think Liverpool are going to prioritise that. I think they'll wait till next summer. There's rumours of a left winger as well. So we're going to break down Liverpool's plans. We're going to break down all the news around Liverpool, the transfers, obviously the Diaz, Chiesa, Kwanzaa, the sales they've made so far, the money coming in, who else could go, the latest on Isak, Guehi, other potential deals. But I want to break down a little bit about what Liverpool could be doing next season. You know, if they do sign a left winger, if they don't sign a left winger, potentially if Salah was injured or Afcon or Gakpo was injured, how Isak and Ekitike could be used together. This box midfield that we're starting to see from Slot in pre-season. What is Slot assembling at Liverpool? You know, who could be coming? Could there be a left winger coming in? Could there be a DM coming in? Or is it going to end Guehi and Isak? We're going to talk about it and the business Liverpool are doing and why it's really good. But first of all, let's break down the news. Of course, let me know your thoughts down below, but you shouldn't be allowed. It's too good. Ekitike, Wirtz, Isak in the same window, as well as just good signings like Kerkez and Frimpong and Guehi. Shouldn't be allowed. It's just too good. I mean, the thing is, I can't even be like Slot's buying the league because he won the league without buying anyone last season. And also, like, Liverpool didn't spend anything last season. They made a load of money from winning the league. And they got 100 million for Kwanzaa and Diaz. They got 10 million on Trent. Like, Liverpool are just smart. Like, I can't even be, like, bitter about it. They're smart. They're operating efficiently. They're making money through sales. They're buying good players. Like, they're doing it completely fairly. Unlike some clubs we won't name who probably didn't do it in the most fair way when they brought a lot of players. Like, they're just annoying. They operate smartly. They buy good players. They sell players well. My club can't even sell anyone. It's so infuriating to watch, man. Man United, I need you to have a good season for me. I need you to have a good season for me. Liverpool, let's talk about them. Because I think they've pretty much got the league on lockdown. But this Diaz deal was significant because of Isak. And we're going to talk about that. So, as David Ornstein said, Liverpool have agreed, Bayern have agreed to deal with Liverpool to sign Diaz, 75 million euros, blah, blah, blah. There's 190 million in sales since Hughes become Liverpool sporting director. He's done a ridiculously good job. Unbelievable business there. So 75 million euros. So that's 65 million pounds for Diaz, which I think is good. If you look at Diaz and you look at Rashford, now Rashford's obviously been poor for the last year and a bit, although he had a decent spell at Villa. They're the same age. Well, Rashford I think is a tad younger. Rashford's a year younger, and Rashford's got a 26 million option to buy, whereas Diaz is going for 65 million. Now, don't get me wrong, Diaz is on lower wages. He's a better player than Rashford. He's been better the last year and a half. But 2 years ago, Marcus Rashford scored 30 goals, and we get 26 million for him. And Liverpool gets 65 million for Diaz. Now, Diaz is definitely worth more than Rashford, but more than double. That just shows that I think Liverpool has sold well. But the thing is with Liverpool is they didn't need to sell Diaz. They had an option to extend his contract. He was unbelievable last season. So, you know, Liverpool are in a position where they're saying, well, we don't want to sell this guy unless we get over 60 million. And Diaz is worth 65, 70 million for Liverpool. So it's not even like buying got mugged off. Like, Liverpool got a fair fee for Diaz, but it's a good fee, I think, with Diaz's age and him wanting to go. But I think it's also a fair fee because I look at Diaz's importance to Liverpool. It would cost him about 60 million to replace him. So the plan is confirmed. Diaz is a new Bayern Munich winger. He's going to arrive. That deal's going to be done and it's going to go through. But even after Diaz sailed, the plan is for Chiesa to leave. Now, if I was going to be totally honest, I think my biggest criticism of Slot, and it's hard to criticise him because he won the league, so whatever he says goes. But I think he could have used Chiesa more. I think Chiesa could have got more chances. He looked good in the preseason friendly versus Preston. That is Preston, obviously. He looked good versus Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final, who's your best player. And obviously, a lot of the times that Chiesa got opportunities, he was playing with the B team. You know, he never really got opportunities with the A team. And I think when he did get opportunities with the A team and with the better players, he did well. But when you're, I guess, you know, behind Mo Salah, who was arguably the best player in the world last season, I understand there's not many minutes for him. Maybe he could have come on over Nunes in certain games. I think Chiesa could have got more opportunity, but he's going to go. Liverpool might make a profit on him. I'm just saying, if Chelsea can make a profit on João Felix, which is ridiculous to think they made a profit on João Felix, Liverpool could maybe make a profit on Chiesa, despite the lack of minutes. And then obviously there's Darwin Nunes. There's rumours of Darwin Nunes to Saudi. He was linked to Napoli. That's not going to happen. He's been quite good in pre-season. Apparently he was only on the bench because of a small injury concern or a minor injury concern, but then didn't Newcastle say that about Isak, and then look what happened a few days later. So we don't know if he's on the bench because of a minor injury concern or because something else is happening. But he's still 100% expected to leave, said Romano. So, you know, this is significant because we're going to talk about Isak, we're going to talk about Guehi, we're going to talk about the ins and how it works. But Kwanzaa, Kelleher, Trent, Diaz, Phillips have all raised around 100 million. Nunes and Chiesa expected to leave, and Harvey Elliott could bring in a good 30 million pounds as well. Or I think Newcastle need a player like Harvey Elliott, so maybe he's involved in a deal to get the Isak price down. So yeah, let's talk about the news on Isak. So Liverpool are prepared to go big for Isak after Diaz sale done. They've got the funds. They're ready to make the move. Bish, bash, bosh. It's up to Newcastle now. La, la, la. I think things could move. Newcastle working on a Sesko deal. I think Newcastle will want to agree personal terms and get Sesko pretty much wrapped up before selling Isak, because there's a lot of time when Newcastle have been in for a player like João Pedro, put in bids. They had interest in Mbeumo and Cunha and Delap and James Trafford. I think they even put in bids for James Trafford, Ekitike, you know, and they didn't get those players. So I think Newcastle might wait until they've got Sesko terms agreed, locked down before they agree to sell Isak. But I think things could advance. Now, it's not guaranteed that that Newcastle will sell Isak. They might just say, no, we're not selling him. But considering they're looking at strikers in the market, considering the way Eddie Howe's talking about Isak, considering the fact that Isak is no longer on tour, not set to join the tour, and the fact that Newcastle journalists have said all summer that Isak's not going anywhere, it's now suggesting Isak could go anywhere and he wants to leave. Something says to me, I think Isak could go. I always said with Isak, I always felt that Isak was never going to leave Newcastle this summer because Isak was never pushing to leave. And I said, unless Isak starts pushing to leave, he's going to stay at Newcastle. And because Newcastle got Champions League football, Isak seemed content. He wasn't pushing to leave. Maybe he saw that Newcastle were failing to get this summer signing done and this signing done and this signing done. And maybe he saw a lack of ambition and then decided he wanted to leave. Who knows? But I think Isak is now going to go to Liverpool, which is really annoying. Another player Liverpool looks set to get is Marc Guehi. Now, Ramona said that Liverpool are expected to sign a new centre-back. They like Guehi, but nothing's advanced yet. Ben Jacobs said that Palace informed Guehi they want to sell him now. They don't want him to leave on a free. And the move to Anfield has looked like the most likely scenario this summer. But Liverpool believe Crystal Palace's asking price is too high. You're in two scenarios here. Crystal Palace want to sell him, and Liverpool know if he rejects everyone and waits for Liverpool, then they'll be in a position where they can get him for cheap. It's a little bit like what Real Madrid tried to do with Lenny Yoro, but because Man United came in and Lille put pressure on Lenny Yoro to go to Man United over Real Madrid, it didn't work for Real Madrid. What Liverpool are doing is 1 year left on his contract. It gets to the end of August. They want 40 million. All of a sudden, he goes 30 million. They might see Joe Gomez injured. They might see Kwanzaa gone. They might see that Liverpool have got an injury-prone Konate and a 34-year-old Van Dijk at the back. Is he 34? No, he's not that old, is he? A very old Van Dijk at the back. He is 34. A 34-year-old Van Dijk at the back and might go, no, we still want 40 million. I think, basically, Liverpool in a position where they can probably play Palace a little bit to get the price down. So yeah, that situation's there. We also know that basically Hugo Ekitike is unlikely to be Liverpool's final attacking signing after the sale of Diaz. So we're going to talk about it because it looks like Isak and Guehi could complete the window for Liverpool. There's talk of them needing a sixth. There's talk of them needing 2 centre-back signings because surely Guehi's the Matip replacement. Who's the Kwanzaa replacement? You'd never replace Matip. Absolutely true. The question is, have they got enough on the wing? Ekitike can play on the left. Gakpo and Moas look really good as well. Obviously, Salah can play on the right. Frimpong can play on the right, but Bradley does get injured, so that's something to take in mind. Although you could play Szoboszlai right back, Frimpong right wing if something happened to Salah and Bradley was injured, I guess. Is that enough for Liverpool? Obviously, last summer they were linked to Gordon. In January, they linked to Kvaratskhelia, which would have been an unbelievable signing. And you've more recently been linked to Fofana, who's now set to apparently go to Everton, and Rodrigo, who would probably be too pricey on top of Isak, Wirtz and Ekitike, despite selling well. But Slot does like his wingers, and I do think if Chiesa is sold on top of Diaz, on top of Nunes being sold, and sadly what happened with Jota, Liverpool may want to bring in that extra re-attack enforcement for depth in a winger. Now, Rio and Yamoa looks good, but I still think maybe there's room for depth there. But I don't think it's an absolute priority because of, again, how you could line up if something did happen to Salah and did happen to Gakpo. We've been seeing Slot use this sort of box midfield, this sort of 2 number 10s. Now, obviously, he's often been using the right back to invert to do that and go to a back 3, but for the sake of this, it's just done it in a back 4. It will be interesting. But Malik Fofana was appreciated by Liverpool. They're considering several options. They are looking at wingers. Let's wait and see. But why is Arne Slot's plan cheat code? Well, just look at the depth. Like, it sucks to admit this, but literally, like, every player on their bench gets in United starting 11. Maybe not Nayoni, but again, he's a good talent that could push our starting 11. I think with Cunha and Abuma coming in, okay, the wings are stronger with, like, someone like Rio wouldn't get in, but they're kids. Every sort of player in this side that isn't a kid probably walks into United's team, which is pretty concerning. Pretty concerning, to be honest. I mean, Frimpong and Kerkez are the perfect wing-backs for Amrin, but I tell you what, Dorgu's a player. There's a good player in Dorgu. Liverpool have got an insane team when you look at the depth. Like, we're looking at someone like Szoboszlai, maybe not starting in their best 11, which is crazy considering how good he was versus AC Milan, how good he is in the big games. I think Szoboszlai and Wirtz, you've got to find a way to get them both to play. And maybe that's why Arne Slot is looking at midfield 4, because of how important Szoboszlai is. Frimpong can play right back, right wing. Ekitike can play with Isak, without Isak. They can play in the front 2. It's absolutely crazy, So I want to talk about how Isak and Ekitike could work together, because even though they signed Ekitike, Liverpool want Isak. Of course they want Isak, a generational world-class player is on the market, arguably the best striker in the world. So Ekitike and Marmoush had this really good partnership at Frankfurt. Ekitike often dropped deeper to link play, and Marmoush made runs behind, and it was lethal. At Liverpool, they could form the same thing with Isak and Ekitike. Ekitike could operate as the second striker or false 9, using his technical ability and movement to just draw defenders, connect midfield to attack. Isak is making runs. We've seen that Newcastle was so deadly because they're so good at transitioning. And while Klopp was more transition-based than Slot, it gives Slot that transition outlet, and Isak thrives in that. Isak can do well in breaking down blocks, but in transition, Isak can be the advanced forward. He can stretch defences. He's got Wirtz and Ekitike that have the technical ability to find him. You've got players like Salah, which means not all the defence is just going to be looking at Isak. They've got to split responsibilities as well. Space could be opened up through the runs of Salah or Gakpo, or Szoboszlai is so good with his off-the-ball movement and pressing to open up space for players as well. The profiles complement each other well. Arne Slot could maybe use this 4-4-2 or 4-2-2 setup to accommodate both. So it's not just like Isak's coming in, what's the point of signing Ekitike? It's no, you can use both and create something pretty OP, because with Wirtz and Szoboszlai and Gakpo and McAllister all playing in the same midfield, that's a midfield 4. You could go to potential front 2, potentially if something happened to Salah as well. Also, Salah could play in a front 2, Gakpo could play in a front 2, because they're not touchline wingers. They're more inside forwards. They're not an out-and-out 9, but they're not an out-and-out touchline winger. They're both inside forwards as a profile, so it does work well. You've got Ekitike, who's a technically gifted facilitator. He can link play, allow width to be stretched. You've got Isak, that's just an elite level striker, not just a good finisher, not just someone that can score goals inside the box, outside the box, but someone that can dribble, link play. Isak could even go more to the left and have that Thierry Henry type role where he's been compared to a lot. Wirtz, creative genius, technically so good, can glide through midfield, ball sticks to his feet, unbelievable. Got the vision IQ to pick out these insane passes. Frimpong and Kerkez can just stretch the width, overlap, bring a lot of power, pace to the defence. And Guehi is just a calm, composed Premier League proven centre-back that is a leader, that is a captain at his age already, to replace, you know, Kwanzaa with. Isak got 23 goals and 6 assists last season for Newcastle in the Premier League in 34 games, which is 29 goal contributions in 34 games, and he was playing the last 7 or 8 games with a groin injury. He can drop deeper and run behind. He's good in transition. He can hold up play. He can run the channels. He would work so well with Salah, Gakpo, Wirtz. You know, you got Wirtz potentially in the pockets, breaking the lines, passing it into the final third, and someone like Ekitike and Ekitike or Salah making that run. You got Salah, who could be going 1v1 with players and doing the little cutbacks to someone like Isak. The IQ of Isak, Wirtz, Salah, the triangles they could form, the cutbacks, the unpredictability, how fluid it is absolutely insane. Because I feel like Isak and Wirtz are going to be the 2 transfers that get a lot of hype and get a lot of talk, and how Salah will play with them. But also, don't forget Ekitike is a baller. You know, he could play off to the left. Isak could play off to the left. They could play together. But the link-up play, the movement, the touch, the understanding Ekitike as he's such a technically good player. You know, maybe not the best finisher in the world, but he can drop deep and allow someone like Wirtz or Salah to push forward more. He can facilitate them. He can work with Isak. Yeah, what Liverpool are building is an absolute cheat code. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm so jealous. I'm hoping Isak doesn't happen, but I feel like it is going to happen. So, yeah. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.